Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Blitz, and in today's video, I am putting my money where my mouth is. 1,000 US dollars, to be exact. In front of me, we have the Controcarro 1 Mark II. This is a Tier 9 Italian tech tree tank destroyer, and it is a vehicle that I currently hold the highest damage ever recorded in. If we make our way over to Blitzstar's Hall of Fame, we can see that I'm sitting at just shy of 8,000 damage in the vehicle, which places me number 1 for damage all-time ever dealt in the tank. I am willing to bet $1,000 that nobody can beat that record. And that's what the challenge is. I think that it's a great idea to not only have people try to get high damage, learn, and get better at the game, but also for a fun reason. And I think this is a pretty fun way to have people try and beat a really cool record. I want to see somebody get 8,000 damage in the Controcarro 1 Mark II. And if you do, and you have the replay, and it's not a rigged battle, I'm willing to put up $1,000. So how does that sound? To participate in this challenge, all you gotta do is join my Discord, link in the description, and just send me the replay whenever you get an 8,000 damage game in the Controcarro 1 Mark II, or if you get an 8,000 damage game in the vehicle. Now, 8,000 damage for Hall of Fame isn't too impressive. We can see that there are all the other tank destroyers sitting at higher damage. The Ritter has 8,000 damage. I mean, even the Ritter's second and third place positions are close to my first. And we can see that every other tank destroyer in Tier 9 has more damage dealt. In fact, we can just look at all Tier 9s, and we can see that my Controcarro 1 Mark II is one of the lower damage records in the tier. So what makes this such a hard record to beat? Well, it's the fact that this vehicle has terrible damage per minute. It has 3 shells, but one of them is a reserve shell. So if you dump that, you're going to have really bad DPM. So you only have 2 shells, really. You have shell 3 on a 9.96 second reload, and shell 2 on an 11.77 second reload. You have 2,000 base damage per minute, and once you shoot shell 2, you're going down to around 1,700 DPM, and if you shoot your reserve shell, you're going to be in like 1,000 DPM. And that's where this vehicle is really tricky to get high damage out, is because it has atrocious DPM. To deal the 8,000 damage that I've dealt, it will take you 4 minutes of non-stop firing at the most effective damage per minute this vehicle has. Now, there are ways to deal more damage. It has really nasty high explosive with 640, and that is going to skyrocket your DPM. If you can get a whole HE clip out, that's almost 2,000 damage. So there are a lot of areas where this is a super dangerous tank. And it's a fun vehicle. I'm going to play a game in it just to showcase how the vehicle plays and how I use it, so maybe it can give you some insight on how to beat my record. But I think that this is going to be a lot more challenging than certain players may think. And I challenge all skill levels. So there are Origin players or Raid players. I don't know all the EU clans, but any server, obviously apart from Russia, because Lesta is a completely different branch of the game, but Asia, NARU, or Asia, NAEU, there you go. My brain finally worked. It is 4 a.m. Any server, if you beat the record in this tank, all you need to do is send me the replay, and if it's not rigged and I can confirm it's an actual battle played, then I'll put $1,000 into your bank account or your PayPal or whatever you want. I'll give you 1,000,000 gold. I don't know, but that's the deal. It's a pretty simple challenge, but one that is going to be quite tricky to beat. Cool things about the Controcarro 1 Mark II, it features 13 degrees of gun depression, making this the highest gun depression vehicle in high tiers. Look at the level of gun depression this tank has. It is absolutely wild, and it makes you question why other tanks don't have more. But the gun depression alone allows this vehicle to be very dangerous. It also has pretty good mobility. Traverse speed is terrible, but in terms of actual top speed, it gets up to 35 kilometers per hour, and gets up to it pretty quickly. Armor-wise, really, really strong. It does have a weak lower plate, but it's not that hard to hide, and if you know what you're doing, you can get out some pretty good bounces. And then the most dangerous part is the gun. 450 damage per shot, 3 shells. That means you can deal a whopping 1,300 damage clip actually more, almost 1,400 in a tier 9 tank destroyer if you really wanted to. The downside is that you're going to absolutely hemorrhage damage per minute to deal that damage. This is not a great start for our team, as the entire enemy team has decided to go over to medium flank. And our mediums played way over-aggressed. I don't know what the heck our Barask thought he was going to accomplish, but now he's yelling at his WZ for some reason. That's 100% the Barask's fault, bruh. So we got the enemy 252, and I can't hit the 252 from here, but I can hit the Vipera. There you go, nice 426 shell. And, well, we'll just back up. Ooh, we do get shot. However, not that big of a deal. We are just going to slowly reload our clip. We have the K2 right in front of us, and this is where that insane level of gun depression just makes this a ridiculously hard vehicle to counter. And that is half of a K2 stripped right off. So now we have terrible DPM. And this shows you just how hard it is to get out high damage in this tank. Look at the reload. I mean, sure, we did 1,000 damage to the K2, but now we have to sit here and wait, and wait, and wait. We still have another 5 seconds left before we can get another shell out. And I really, really, really want to shoot that Vipera. There you go. We get the clear into his tank. We have the enemy Sharpie Chair 4. We get the clear into his tank, and now we go back to waiting. Now, the nice thing about this vehicle is that you do have a reserve shell, so if I need to use it, I could. But the plan is not to use our reserve shell. Our team is really bad as well, which is not very helpful. We have the SMV, we have the 252. I'm just going to back on up. We need to wait for our reserve shell, all of our shells to actually be loaded, and there you go. 1 shell into the 252, 2 shells into the 252. There you go. Pretty good stuff. Now, unfortunately, our IS-3 Defender does not appear to be doing very well right now. We are going to maneuver right over here, and let's see what this K2 ends up doing. Oh, he cuts right through my armor. That is a problemo. Alright, we still have a long reload left. We have 5 seconds to go. That's not entirely what I want to deal with. Let's see if we can get a shell. There you go. Nice shot into you. And now we're going to reload one more time so we can fully clear this enemy K2. Let's hope that he bounces me. He does actually bounce it. That's huge. Then we have the Vipera, which... Oh, what is that, bro? That is wild. That is an absolutely wild roll. Oh my rat. Alright, let's over-angle it, and we need to get a bounce here. I don't know if we're going to. We don't get a bounce. That absolutely sucks. But we get our shell. We get 1 shell into the enemy K2. We get 2 shells into the enemy K2. And we don't get it. We low-rolled our shell on the SMV, and because of that, we lost the game. Classic RNG. 450 damage per shot. And I roll 390. That's wild, bruh. But it's a great example of how hard it is to deal good damage in this tank. That was a 4,480 damage game, and that was literally me shooting as much as I could, as effectively as I could, and clearing as many opponents as I could. This is a very fun vehicle, but a very tricky tank to drive. And I think that it's going to set a lot of people on a super hard challenge if you want to get $1,000. So, the challenge is up to you. If you don't want to accept it, that's entirely your decision. If you do want to accept it, join the Discord and send me your submissions if you do get them. I have a feeling if somebody does beat this record, it's going to take a while. And as I said, I'm going to watch the replay. So if I see rigging, I'm going to instantly disqualify it. No AFK tanks. It has to be a legit battle. The game I played in my Semovente Controcarro 1 Mark II was shown on my channel. Not a single AFK vehicle, if I'm not mistaken. So it has to be a legit game. No AFK tanks, start to finish. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.